Welcome back to Mom Talk, and I'm so excited because on this episode we get to have my sister on here. Welcome, Julianne.
Hi, everybody.
And Victoria and Julianne know each other too, not only through me, but their boys are at daycare together.
Yes, they are rowdy together.
Yeah.
Okay, so Julianne has had 2 boys. Take it over.
Yes, Drake is 7. He'll be 8 in April. Calvin just turned 5. They are the epitome of wild and crazy. So,
They are, like when you think of a boy.
yes, they're the definition of noise with dirt on it.
Okay, so did you know when you were young that you wanted to be a mom? Or did it come later? Like, when did you feel this feeling? I need to
Or
have
did
some...
it just happen?
Yeah, or I just surprised had some kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of a go with the flow girl, so it just kind of happened.
But Cody wanted kids.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I knew I wanted kids eventually, but it just kind of happened.
Happened when it happened.
Yeah, and yeah, it turned out I was a little bit pregnant on the wedding, didn't realize.
Okay,
So,
happens.
and then found out a little bit after the honeymoon, came home and oh, there we go. Yeah, that's fine.
Just one little tiny step ahead.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would call them pretty easy pregnancies, and so did Mom. So I thought you would too. But I feel like that's a hard no.
Definite no.
Did it start out easy?
I had all the nausea. I don't know if I would go so far as that hyperemesis scavadrium, as they call it. I was never like hospitalized as far as the nausea, but I mean, I only gained the 5 pound, which is what the baby was. I threw up pretty much the whole time.
That's miserable.
You lived on air.
Yeah, until the diclegis came, the medicine. So that was really helpful. That was a godsend. But
How far along were you and able to get that medication?
2nd trimester maybe, until I was able to get that. So that was helpful, but still I had to keep like all the all the scents. All the scents hit you, all the odors,
Mm-hmm.
and they just hate you. I always had to keep like a peppermint on me to disguise.
You know, I know you didn't feel well, but you really hide it well. Like, you didn't complain. I mean, I wouldn't know how miserable she really was.
No, I guess I just saw internalize.
I mean, did you go cry at home, or you just don't say anything?
Should
Yes,
just
I
go
just-
throw up and then live her life.
Yeah.
That's what you do, Jordan. That's what
Okay.
morning sickness is.
That's what morning sickness is. Okay, see, I don't have experience.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just-
Victoria, you don't complain either. I worked with you every day, and I wouldn't know you didn't feel bad.
No, you just go throw up and
Didn't feel good.
to work. and-
Well, yeah, okay, now that I think about it, I was super mean to Cody.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Fair. You have to have somebody.
Yeah, I was super crazy to him.
the father of the child should be the one to get it.
Yeah, I was super crazy.
Did he, like, wonder what he'd gotten himself into? Like, this new person?
Yeah,
Or did he not
but
comment?
he's the type that thinks all that stuff is all in your head.
Oh.
See, Jared has a touch of that. He's
Throwing
like,
up is?
Well, like,
No, like mind over matter.
yeah,
Oh.
Like
Oh.
power through. It's not
Right.
that bad.
like,
It's not all in your head, but like
That's when I want to
your
get
mind
that.
can override it.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
when I want to
That's
get the
how Jared- that's what Jared's trying
contraction
to touch on.
Yeah.
machine
just-
out.
Yeah.
just tell yourself you're not stressed.
Yeah.
Right, when
And then
people-
you won't be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wish.
yeah, just get over it. You're fine.
Okay, so did you ever feel better or only with the meds? Like, you didn't get out of this sickness?
No, nausea with both boys for sure, both pregnancies. The diclegis kept the throwing up at bay, but like the nausea was at a dull roar, I felt like the whole time.
Okay, and then when did you learn you were trying to have Drake earlier than you should?
I was at work at Walgreens, so I'm always on my feet, always running around, and
Pharmacy tech, so
Yeah.
she's super busy.
pharmacy tag at Walgreens. So I'd felt like the tightening, around my belly button, around my belly area. So I called like my OB nurse and left a message, told her what I was experiencing, and she called me back and she was like, yeah, I think you need to go in. I think you need to go in and get checked out.
How far along were you?
So I think this was week 26 because Calvin was even earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere around with Drake, it was around 26 to 30. Yeah, with him, I called in. They told me to go in.
Did you just go to the doctors or to the ER?
I went to Nova. I went to the hospital. Yeah, and I was stuck there for a while.
Were you in labor, having contractions?
Yes, I was in labor. They were able to put the magnesium drip in.
And that was horrible.
That I would not wish on anybody. That's a thing made by the devil himself.
That's what Amy said.
I mean, just seeing you on it was terrible. You looked miserable.
I mean, the thoughts that you have on that. I mean, so if anybody doesn't know what that is, that's what stops the contractions. That's what slows the contractions down, stops your labor. So obviously it's really handy, but it makes your body feel like you're on a bed of hot coals. Mm-hmm. I had to have the big, I swear, I had a big box fan in front of me, and I had 2 personal fans on each side of me.
Wet
rag on top of my forehead and one under my neck. And you have to have the bolus of the IV, and then you have, 4 more hours of it or something?
Yeah, you just have to lay there and wait. Mm-hmm.
And then that makes you throw up, too. It's just the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I would never. That feeling right there is my main birth control.
Yeah, it's a miracle you have 2 kids.
I know, after that. So how long were you there that stay?
So that stay, probably 3 or 4 days. They were able to stop it. At Tenova, they're, I don't know if I would say lenient or not as strict, but I don't even know if I would say.
You think they should have kept you
careless,
right?
They just were checking off the box of that's what they were supposed to do, and then you left.
Yeah. So.
And had you dilated at all?
I was dilated. I think I was probably only at a 2 or 3 then. So, yeah, you stopped the contractions.
Did you have to get shots for his lungs at that point too? Or was that a different time? To develop?
I think the second go around with Drake, I did have to. I did. So after that little stint, I did go home probably for a few days, and then I went back again.
Were you on bed rest?
Yes.
Did you have to quit your job? I can't remember.
I didn't have to quit, but I did. I obviously had to do the FMLA, so I couldn't go back until after, basically I started my maternity leave right there.
Right. So then you're propped up at home, and a couple days later, you're contracting again.
Yeah, so I go back.
Did you have to do the drip again?
And do the drip again.
Oh.
I'm I have anxiety hearing about that.
Yes, I do the drip again. The thoughts that come through your head when you're on that, and the mentality of it, I'm just all right, well I don't have to do that. I can just have this baby and it'll be fine.
You were just ready, don't do this again. I'm sure he's fine.
It's fine.
There's gotta be another option.
It's fine. But I had to push through that. I'm all right, I gotta keep my baby in as long as I can, keep him safe. That's when they did another drip. They got the contractions slowed down again. Then they did the shots for his lungs. So that was good. I think at that stint, I think I went home again after that. And then at 34 and a half weeks is when I went in again for the last time.
Did you know he was coming at that point? There's no stopping, or you just...
Well, they tried to stop it again with a dang other magnesium drip.
You went through it.
So I had 3 rounds of that. But at that time, they it slowed down a little bit, but not where they liked it. So at that point, that nurse, I think they were like, screw it. So they went totally the opposite. They did a 180 and they started the Pitocin.
Wow. That is a quick 180.
They tried to wait a little bit because you don't want, as they call it, a magged out baby.
Oh, what would that do?
So, I mean, it slows everything down, so it slows your baby down in a sense. Like,
gosh, that is so crazy to think about.
It slows the movement down. I don't know.
Like, is he going to come out of you asleep?
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know exactly what would happen.
But they didn't want whatever
it
was.
They didn't want that. I felt like I was a little magged out, as they call it still. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still hated life, and I felt like I wasn't as present.
You're drugged
as
up.
I could have been. Yeah, they started the Pitocin. They did that dang ball that's as big as a whale they put between your legs to...
I'm like, we both have C-sections.
I know, we're
staring at you crazy.
Oh, yeah, okay. They put a big-ass ball. I guess the ball that you would... no, it's a peanut. They call it a peanut.
Okay, I've seen this. I've seen this on my birth story.
Yes, okay, so they put a big blow-up peanut in between your legs.
Yes.
They guess they want to trying to stretch out your cervix and stuff or something.
I have not seen this, and I got to be there for Drake, but it wasn't during the stretching.
No. Yeah, so it's a big blow-up peanut. I was like, okay, I'm just along for the ride.
At this point, do whatever.
Yeah.
Get this baby out of me now that's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and I still had... Oh, we didn't talk about the catheter. Of course, every time you have a magnesium drip, you have to have a catheter because can't get up because your legs are magged out as well.
Oh.
So you can't get up and relieve yourself because you can hardly feel your legs.
I'm seriously listening, and I'm like, how did you have a second child?
I know.
I don't know.
I really don't. Go on.
I don't know either.
So,
sometimes.
Was the catheter miserable?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean...
There's just so much going on.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot about that until now. Sometimes I have nightmares about that.
I'm like, you have to have, like, some, like, medical anxiety or, like, PTSD for real from this.
Yeah. Things are moving along.
Have you called the family? Everybody's got to come?
Yes, everybody's coming. Pretty much everybody is on the way.
Did Aunt Joy make it?
Yes. Remember, I think... Because there's a picture in the baby book of you, Joy, and Amy... all sitting on the couch right there.
Okay, you're right.
Cody's sister Amy is sitting right there.
And Aunt Joy, she comes to all of our births because she's worked at the hospital. So
it's
like not official
that's
unless she's there.
That's like my Aunt Cindy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Her Aunt Cindy works at the hospital, so she gets it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, and I think Cody was on a job, so he came in and...
Wait, he hadn't been there?
Well...
I'm like, hold on!
Well, I mean, at this time, this was my third visit.
Right.
So, I think I was like, I'll call you if it's happening or something like that.
And so then it was.
And, yeah.
And like I said, Julianne didn't complain still. I could tell she was miserable, but if it were me, everybody would know it.
I would need everybody to take me to the hospital.
Yeah, Cody, you're going to watch me be miserable every time.
Yeah.
That's so nice of you.
That's really nice of you.
I just remember Cody, wherever he came from working, I guess it was with, not insulation, but like, I don't know, sawdust or something. He was
gross.
Oh, man.
He was covered in white stuff. the stuff, construction, I don't know, stuff. I was like, okay, that's lovely. So I didn't feel one single thing at all. I pushed. They told me to, push like you're dropping a deuce. So that's what I did, and I
got to hold her legs. That's the first live birth I've seen. It was
And
amazing.
I shit everywhere.
Oh, I missed that part.
I mean, I hear
but
that you're pushing the right way.
Oh, Cody told me I did that. He said, yeah, you just shit on yourself.
Well,
so
did you care if he's like looking all up in there? Because some people are like, I'm not looking there.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They did offer a mirror for me, and I said, hell no.
That's
don't do that.
Well, I do remember that.
Well, and that was still after, like, I was still kind of nausea from the mag, and so I was like, if I saw that, I think I would vomit everywhere.
Right.
So I didn't do it. I was still kind of sour-stomached.
Have you seen anybody give birth yet?
No.
Okay, it is amazing.
And it's on my list.
You got to find
It's
somebody
on my
having
list.
a
I
kid.
didn't have a girl either.
I know, and so that's why I'm kind of bitter about that. It's kind of salty. So
like, who are you going to get to watch?
yeah, I know. But maybe I'll sneak in with Emma or something.
Yeah, surely.
But yeah, so we're ready to go. I'm pushing for like 90 minutes, and I think 90 minutes is the max. Like 90 minutes is the max before they take you back for a C-section almost. The Tidwell heads are 99% or whatever.
Drake did have a big head.
They're huge.
Even so early.
Yes.
Large head.
And the next thing I know,
The nurses are coming in and taking my place.
Yeah, well, Doc came in, and he's been watching from the corner, but Doctor came over and did an episiotomy, cut me down from hole to hole. Drake slid out, and then...
And you didn't feel that?
And then you screamed. Do you remember you screamed when he came out? That's how I knew he finally came out.
It was just so crazy.
And you screamed, and that's how I knew he came out.
I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but watching this baby
I couldn't feel anything
come into the world, and you're my sister, so seeing you do it was so, I can't explain it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm the how many women in this family, and y'all have all had C-sections, and I'm the only one vaginal.
I know, I was so happy for you.
I'm the only one vaginal, and of course have to have these problems, but I mean...
Yeah, I don't know which one I prefer.
But,
I think the C-section after hearing you talk.
But yeah, so
he was 34 weeks.
34 and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, 34 and a half.
So you knew he was going straight to the NICU.
Yes. They put him on my chest just for a second. Cody cut the cord, and then it's kind of a blur.
Yeah, you're so
out of it. It's a little bit of a blur. The next thing I know, I feel like I was, like, they wheeled me back there sometime later, and he was already settled in the NICU, and I just remember looking at him through the thing.
Was everything good with his lungs and his growth for that week?
He had to do a little bit of blue light for the jaundice. Yeah, I think his lungs were at 100%, they said.
Okay.
He had to do a little NG tube for a little feeding tube, just because he would kind of fall asleep during those. But he was in the NICU for 2 weeks.
How did you feel while he was
to go
in
home.
the NICU for that long? Were you okay? Were you scared?
I mean, it's a lot to take in. I do remember finally crying upstairs. Mom was like, why don't you go be with your child? And it's kind of one of those things. I'm like, well, I feel like I want to be there, but I feel like it's weird because I can't take my child home yet. What do I do when I'm there? I feel like, when your child's in the NICU, the nurses and doctors dictate everything.
Yeah, you have to ask, can I hold him? Can I touch him? Can I change him?
And so I don't know, it's just weird. It's just a weird feeling. And I don't know, I mean, not gonna lie, I was kind of grateful for the 2 weeks of a full night's sleep.
Yeah, you could
so
rest.
I could adjust myself.
And heal.
Yeah. Because that episiotomy, I'll tell you.
I was about to ask, how was that healing?
That was...
I've heard it's terrible.
No one ever talks to you about that first doo-doo.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
I would be scared. I was scared because my insides were cut, but I would be real scared.
Yeah, I was scared because I was, afraid I was getting ripped
back
out too.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, everything was fine.
Okay. Did your milk come in?
Not really. No.
Okay. Did you ever think I'm going to breastfeed?
Not really, no.
I didn't feel like that, obviously, after I tried one time. But I didn't know.
Once you felt that fire burn?
Yeah, then it was good. Okay, so you were fine doing formula. It didn't bother you.
Yeah.
And and end of the story, you got pregnant again. So, did you know?
I want to go back for a second.
Oh, okay.
What was it like when you did finally get to bring him home? Were you like paranoid and scared, or like just normal first mom?
So we got to do, before you can take home from the NICU, you have to do an overnight stay in the hospital.
I wish somebody would have done this with me. Who let me have children just all willy-nilly?
So you do an overnight stay in the hospital. They have like a little special family room.
That's right.
We ordered pizza, delivery pizza, and they have TV in there.
Okay, so it's a hotel.
They just make sure you know what you're doing with your baby?
Yeah, I mean...
Because he's so little?
They just come in there and, it's pretty much, it gets you used to everything. So that one night is how it's going to be. So Cody slept all night and I did it all.
Okay.
That's how it is. Diaper changes, that was first 10. That was my first baby. I was like, okay, this is it. No more playtime.
Yeah. Did they do his
circumcision?
Yeah. When did they do that? When he was in the NICU, or was he too little?
No, this was they didn't do that then. That was with his pediatrician, Dr. Moore, before he retired. Okay. Because I distinctly remember one of the older nurses told me he couldn't eat before the procedure, and he was so pissed because he was hungry and ill. And then when I got there, Dr. Moore was like, "You didn't feed him?" And I was like, "Bitch told me not to."
Right.
And he was like, "No, they need to eat beforehand." And I was like, "Well, that's why he's fucking ill."
Yeah.
And so they had to do like that. He kind of like gave him sugar water or something to keep him kind of calm. And I was like, "Well, you tell Karen over there the new rules."
Yeah. Right. Nobody wants an unhappy baby.
But either way, that was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So all good.
Do you wish you would have had time just married before you were like pregnant and sick and had a baby? Because I definitely wish I'd had time with just us.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I don't regret Mason, obviously, but like the timing, I'm like, I wish I had just married time. Like, we dated for a long time, just like you and Cody, but like, it's different.
Yeah. Looking back, same exact feelings. Looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, we could have traveled some more. I could have done some more traveling or
sleeping.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. But it's all good now.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, but I do feel that for sure. And then how did we get to Calvin?
Oh gosh.
Was a sibling a priority for you?
Yeah, I know I definitely wanted to have two. And I knew I was meant to be a boy mom. I just knew.
Did you want girls? Or you don't care?
I don't care, but I knew I wanted boys.
Okay.
I knew I wanted boys. I knew I was meant to be a boy mom. I knew I wanted to raise gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that before Drake, or after you had Drake, you were like, this is it?
No, I knew that before.
Okay.
I knew that before because I'm not your girly girl. I knew that. I mean, I'm fine. I'd be fine with a girl.
Right.
But I knew I wanted boys for sure. So Calvin, let's just say hashtag that was around the 50 Shades of Grey era.
Oh, okay. That was a big time.
That was a time in life.
Yeah. But you knew you wanted Drake to have a sibling, so.
Right. And here's Calvin.
Yes, that was, we were on, what vacation was that?
Oh, when you told me?
Yeah, I told.
We were on vacation, stuck in the car together, and she drops the bomb.
Yeah, we were on vacation.
That you were pregnant?
Yeah. And Mom said, get out and walk.
She sure did.
How old was Drake? What's their age gap?
Well, so when Calvin was born, they're a 2.5 age gap.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Like exactly 2.5 age gap.
I love that.
I have to say, I was just worried about you.
Yeah.
So you knew going in you might have preterm labor, like they had.
Yeah, and they should have done a damn cerclage, but I think they were gonna check about a short cervix, but by the time they thought about checking that, it was too late.
Too late.
Almost. So this go around was even worse. Of course, bring on the nausea, bring on the dicletus again. Fine. Bad decisions were made, and we did a 4-wheeler ride at the farm.
Julianne. Okay. Come on now.
So I guess that got things going. And I think that next day I was like, okay, I think I need to go see Dr. Crawford. And so I went in. He did his little check, and he was like, yeah, you need to go in. And I was like, what if I don't?
Because you knew what was awaiting you.
Yes. It's like, what if I don't? And so there's a new sheriff in town. There was a new OB that was on call at the hospital, and she wasn't playing, which I was thankful for in hindsight. They went ahead and sent me to Vanderbilt.
That was ambulance ride, right?
So
because I left work and came up there with you.
We took the ambulance ride to Vanderbilt. I was still having contractions. It wasn't terrible. So they start the magnesium again. Great.
But they wouldn't let you leave.
And yes, that one, I can't remember that doctor's name. And it's one of those, I don't even know if I would call it bittersweet. I still, like, The mentality was even worse that go around. I know how to sit on my ass, but let me sit on my ass at my house.
Yeah, they had you on lockdown.
But I was stuck on bed rest at Vanderbilt, and I was so rude to everybody. And
I could tell then she was miserable.
How far along were you at this time?
So I was 21 weeks.
It was
22.
So like super scary early.
Early. I was like 22, and I'm like barely viable. I don't even know.
Right.
Not even probably.
Yeah.
And I'm over here, but I'm getting there, rolling in, thinking, okay, they'll do the magnesium. They just want to watch me a little more. I'll stay here a couple of days, and they'll let me go home. Just like
it happened.
Just like last time.
She was a prisoner.
Just like last time. And then, I was like, all right, so, when am I going home? And they just kept beating around the bush. They didn't say exactly that I'm saying. She just said, I just don't think that's a good idea.
Julianne was calling people she knew in Nashville to see if she could stay with them so she didn't have to be at the hospital but could be close.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Were you 4 centimeters dilated then?
Yeah, so I was 4 centimeters dilated.
I was like, he's coming out.
Yeah, they were not letting you.
Yeah, that's probably the size. That's probably how big Calvin was at that time.
Right.
For real. Like he could probably just slip
fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the doctors were right. You're just mad.
So yeah, I mean, I needed to stay. As Grandma said, I needed to lie flat.
Yes, lie flat.
But I mean, I had my good days and my bad days, as she says as well. Mm-hmm. I had lots of visitors. It was really hard, Drake coming to see me and then having to see him go. And because he was still so young.
I'm sure he didn't understand.
No.
Right.
And that was hard.
You got good grandparents, though.
Yes. I have such the best village.
Mm-hmm.
Such the best village. But that was, I think, the worst part. I mean, I just remember crying at the doctor, sobbing. I was like, when are you going to take my mental health into effect? Like, when are you going to worry about that? Because I'm like, you've got my physical in check. I'm like, it's been 2 weeks now since I've been here. So, I mean, I'm expecting to stay here 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm expected to stay here 6 weeks until I deliver. 6 weeks or longer. Like, that would be 6 weeks would be full term.
How did you bust out of there then?
I told them that my stepmom's sister lives on just down the road from Vanderbilt, which she does. And she's an aunt. I mean, she's a nurse at
I don't remember where she was at the time.
Centennial, maybe. And I was going to stay with her. Yeah. So
AKA, I'm just going to come home.
I am going home.
And so they did one last check, and they're like, yeah, nothing's progressed. And so I was literally going to be 5 minutes away. I was like, she'll bring me in ASAP if something happens. And they were like, okay, well. And that Dr. Patel, she my BFF. I was like, you great, you MVP. And so I was like, Cody, come get me right now before they change their mind.
Yeah.
And so I busted on out of there. And
how many weeks were you when you finally got to leave?
40 minutes later, I went home. That was 23 weeks.
Well, you really held on then for a little bit at home.
So I was 3 weeks stuck at Vanderbilt, and then I stayed 4 centimeters dilated for 6 more weeks.
That's good.
I don't know how I did that. It was crazy in hindsight for me to leave the hospital. It's probably very not a safe idea.
But it's hard when your mindset is...
Right. Yeah. Listen, I was in the hospital for 2 nights not long ago, and I swear, like, when I came home, I couldn't stay in my house. Like, I had to be outside. I had to have the windows open. Like, I felt so caged in, so I cannot imagine weeks of that.
I mean,
mentally?
I did message my OB, who is a good family friend, and I was like, if I leave against medical opinion, what will happen?
Yeah, right.
I was like, can I leave? He was like, your insurance probably won't pay for your stay then. I was like, oh. And so, I mean, like I said, just the mental health just drains you.
And you can't really take much when you're pregnant.
Yeah, and Mom kept saying, you better be nice to them and you better perk up because the psych ward is right across the street and that's where they're going to take you. And I said, fine, I'll have some gripper socks.
I mean, give me some relief.
I was like, I don't care. But I just remember praying at night. I was like, I was so selfish. I just prayed at night that I would go ahead and have this baby so I could go home. But I prayed that he'd be healthy, but I was only 23 weeks. I was like, it was just the selfish thoughts. I was such a dark place. It was the darkest place I've ever been in.
I mean, I don't even think that's selfish, really, because you had another child at home. Like, your mom heart was so torn, I'm sure.
It was torn, but
I don't even think that's selfish to want to go home.
No.
But it's just such a tough spot to be in.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
Were you here when you went into labor with Cal?
I was on the couch.
Okay.
I was on the couch. And I was like, I started timing him. I was like, yeah, I can. Obviously, I know the feeling well by now. All the, the tummy hardening and.
Yeah, that's when I got to have the baby talk with my kids. What's going on with Julianne?
Yeah. So I called Cody. I was like, let's go get the bag. And at this point, I don't know why I didn't have it with me. But I was like, let's go get the hospital bag. And then we went to a hospital here in town, to Nova. At this point along, it was late. I was late enough in my pregnancy where I could have the baby here in town and us not be shipped to Vanderbilt.
Right.
So that was the goal all along. So I made it to my goal, which is a blessing. It was great. This go around, I think it was 5:45 p.m. I knew Dr. Crawford was on call. I called him because I have a cell phone number.
I mean, y'all are besties at this point. Yes. Y'all been through some stuff together.
Yeah, we buddies. So I called him. He said he was at Chili's eating dinner with his wife.
Then he come over.
I said, hey, I'm on the I said, hey, I'm on the way. See you there. I am in there in my gown. He came in, broke my water. They said, well, I said, I'm ready for my epidural. And the nurse checked me, and she said, you're at 8 centimeters.
Too late.
Oh, so never mind.
And she said, well, I didn't know what that, I mean, I knew what 8 centimeters meant, obviously, but she was like, we may have time for, and I said, what? And I just burst out in sobs. We may have time for an epidural, excuse me?
Yeah, that would be my worst nightmare, probably.
And
yeah.
so, but
I'm such a baby.
Because you have to wait for the blood work to come back.
That's right.
And I said, well, hurry up, those lab people.
Right.
The anesthesiologist comes in. I get a couple numbing shots in the back. But as that is happening, I can actively feel him lowering.
That's so
you knew it was happening.
I can actively feel him lowering, and I'm just screaming. I'm screaming the whole time. Like, I pulled in the parking lot. I'm just screaming the whole hour. So yeah. I pulled
one whole hour.
I pulled in at 5:45, and he came out at 6:45, I think.
Wow.
And so Dr. Crawford came, they set me up after those pretend numbing shots. And so I said, yeah, and she was going to check me again and do another cervix check, but she didn't even have to. I don't think she got very far. She felt the head. And so she said, Dr. Crawford!
Yes.
And so he came in his
date night.
In his full, well, he had put on his dressings and stuff, his gown and stuff then. I put my feet, he said, all right. He said, give me a push. And so I said, all right, this is what I've been waiting for. And literally all it took was one push, and I went in for another, and he said, all right, stop. Let me do the rest. And so that's all it was. It was one push. I felt everything.
The ring of fire.
Did you get cut this time?
No.
Okay.
So one good push, that's all it took. So it's like, if nobody was there to catch him, it was just falling.
Yeah,
he was falling out.
It was falling forward. So he said, "Let me do the rest." Oh, but I did have an internal tear, and so but the numbing shots numbed me up just in time for them to do an internal stitch.
Okay.
So I didn't feel that.
Good.
So that's good. They popped him on my chest. And obviously I didn't have any medications. I had no catheter. So honestly, I would do that one all over again.
That one felt better.
Yes. I would do that over the 90 minutes and epidural.
Right.
I would do that one all over again.
All the way better.
And I was so present, and I just looked at Cody, and I just kept saying, he's here, he's finally here, he's here, he's here. But I was missing Sissy at the time because she wasn't there.
I didn't make it.
But
when you choose to have a baby in an hour, it's hard to get people there.
Yeah. But honestly, though, I was glad you weren't there a little bit because I don't think you could have handled that one.
The screaming?
She was
screaming enough.
I would have been too worried about you.
I kept saying, the nurse kept saying, I need you to breathe, Julianne. I need you to breathe, because I was too damn loud.
Well, Mom made it, right?
Yeah.
Did Joy?
Joy made it just in time. I was like, where'd you come from?
Gotta call in our backups.
Yeah.
And how many weeks were you when you delivered him?
So I was 33.
Okay.
And
you knew he would go straight to the NICU too. Like you'd been there, done
not
that.
your first rodeo.
Yeah. So they were NICU docs were waiting there for me. Once again, Cody got to cut the cord. They let me hold him, take pics, and then. We had already had since we had been in and out a few times. We had done our stint at Vanderbilt. They had already done all their testings and lung shots and stuff. They had already done all the prep work already. Wheeled down to the NICU.
When did you find out about Cal's heart?
So that was day 5 of the NICU, which is why I say God had me give premature babies. Because day 5, you're already typically at home with your baby. Mm-hmm. NICU doctor noticed the heart murmur day 5. They called me, so I just start crying then. And we go down there to the hospital. He notices the heart murmur. He already sent the pictures to the Vandy doctor, and they want to see him down there right away. So they do the ambulance ride down there.
The angel ride? Is that what it's called?
Well, it's not they have an angel flight, which is the helicopter ride. Okay. But that's the more serious one.
Okay.
So we didn't have to do that one. We just had, since he had all of that stuff hooked up on him, they just did the ambulance ride. So it wasn't lights and sirens. It was just a nice... So we got there, they hooked him up. Obviously that was the best place for him to be. And I'm in a better mindset now because I had the baby and I'm not stuck anymore. Yeah. I can come and go as I please, but now my baby is stuck here, but once again, I'm not stuck.
And you knew he was in good hands.
I knew he was in good hands.
Right, and he didn't need to leave.
Yes. So they keep updating me every day, and of course I could call whenever I wanted, and I could spend some time with Drakey now. Mm-hmm. He was 5 days at Tenova, and then he was a week in the NICU at Vandy, and then they did his heart surgery. He had open heart surgery on Halloween. His main aortic valve had a kink in it, so picture like a water hose, like when you kink a water hose. So they cut that kink out and then sewed those two parts together. So it might narrow again in the future. So he can't play any high intense contact sports, no wrestling, no football growing up.
How did you feel when he was in surgery? Were you in your right mind?
I would not be in my mind at all.
I
would just completely dissociated.
You were fine?
I think y'all were all more worried than I was.
The waiting room was full of our entire family.
It was. I was crying that morning. I think because Cody took so long, the damn Hardee's drive-thru at 5 a.m.
That's right. Y'all were going to be late.
And the doc kept telling us, because he told us the day before, he was like, I'm taking the child back at this time. He said, it's awkward when I don't meet the parents beforehand, but I'm taking them back at this time. If you're not here at this time, oh well.
Too bad.
And so I was late. We were late, but we made it there just in time. So I was stressing out beforehand, but during, I don't know, I felt calm. I felt at peace.
Okay.
I don't know, I just felt good. So surgery went good, not a hiccup. So now he's in the PICU, the aftercare. He's super swollen. He did have some, like, he was on the ventilator. He did have some problems then. Basically, they just had to take him off the ventilator altogether. And that he did start to breathe. So he was breathing on his own, and finally got to hold him then. And so he seemed to like that. So it was a little bit rough after that.
Did you have any postpartum with all this?
No, for real. Because my birth was a C-section, but fine, and like postpartum hit me hard.
My postpartum didn't hit me until I think I got home. I think my hormones after pregnancy, after delivery, are typically the best I feel.
Really?
I don't know. Like, I got up, I was putting makeup on that week because
You're on like a high.
I know. I'm like, is this like fight or flight?
Yeah. What is it?
Because, like, in Vanderbilt, you know, if your kids, like, the worst kind of kids or post-surgery kids or whatever, you can, they offer you that room to stay in overnight there.
That's where we came to see you.
Yeah. And so we were staying there, and I was putting on makeup there. And I was trying. I was putting on.
I mean, there was just so much going on around you too. Like, do you feel like that helped you keep going? Like everything that was your normal?
I mean, I think I finally just felt like I wasn't on bed rest anymore, and I wasn't pregnant.
Okay, you were just relieved. Okay, are we done having kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Like 100%.
Yes, I'm done.
But did the doctor tell you, like, if you did, this one's going to come out, like, even earlier?
I feel like they just keep coming out earlier and earlier. And I know if I had another one, it would be another shithead boy.
Right.
And Cody wants his little princess, and I said, well, it's not going to be by me. But the kids are begging me for another little brother, little sister, and I said, we'll get another dog or something.
Yeah. I mean, Henry and Emma count, don't they? They're good.
I'm like, Cody's siblings are younger, so they'll keep having the kids.
Yeah.
They'll have,
That's what I told Mason,
they'll still
too.
pop them out. But I'm like, no, y'all fight enough.
They go at it.
Yeah.
So for you, was the transition from no kids to one kid or one kid to two kids harder?
I would say no kids to one kid.
That was the hard one.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Because, I mean, I remember a couple of rough nights with, you know, when the little one wakes up the older one in the middle of the night.
See, I got so fortunate. That never happened to me.
Yeah. That's also a top worst fear. Don't wake this.
No, it was literally my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Calvin was a pretty good sleeper.
Do you feel like now that they're older, they're true, like, firstborn, secondborn? Like, is your second one, like,
Oh, he's feral.
balls to the wall?
He's feral.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally feral. But he's the definition of Sour Patch. Like,
He is.
he's so lovey-dovey, but
He's
I
so
mean,
cute.
he'll just run up and kick you and then run away too.
Yeah. You
So-
know I live that life, too.
So, I'm definitely done. I don't want any more. Dr. Crawford did say, I mean, he's retired now, but they would, I think they probably would take care of it for me if I wanted them to.
You just have to do it from the hospital or what?
Like, just the minute you find out you're pregnant, check in.
I know.
Your babies just come so early.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they would do, I'm saying, like, they would do a tubal. They would do a tubal, like, what's it called?
Get your tubes tied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant take care of the baby. Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay. So
But they would, like, tie your tubes.
No, yeah, that.
Okay. Okay. So is that on the table? Undecided.
I do wish I'd had my tubes tied, knowing what all I know now. Like,
Right.
knowing I can't have more kids, I wish I would have just had it done while y'all were in there for that
Yeah.
C-section.
Because going back in for a procedure, nobody wants to do
Well,
that.
nobody will do one on me right now, but yes, I wish I would have just, while you were already in there,
Mm-hmm.
just tie them up.
Yeah, you should have done that.
I should have,
Two
but
for
I thought
one.
I wanted more.
Yeah.
Two for one.
But now that I have two, you know, two's a lot.
And you got one of each.
I do, but two is a lot, even if there is one of each.
Yeah. Two is a lot.
Okay, thank you guys for listening to Mom Talk again. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our podcast on the Purple Podcast app or at Spotify. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.